welcome to the Prospect Podcast on this lovely Monday morning. They got me started earlier than normal, 9 a.m. So, and we got Ashley up. I got her up, get her ready to go. She's got a game today. I'm Coach Schumann. I'm here with Coach D, as always. We're here with another great podcast. We have Ashley Solfilkanich from Michigan, plays basketball at the University of Michigan. When she was in the Patriot League, she was Player of the Year in the Patriot League, and now she's on to Michigan and doing great things there. She played her high school ball at St. John Vianney for legendary coach, absolute legendary coach. And we'll talk about all that kind of stuff as well. And so we're really excited to have you on, Ashley.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah. Super excited.
I'm so glad I didn't mess your name up, because so many podcasts that I've gone on, they literally, like you did, told me the name correctly, and then I got right on there and screwed it up. So
no, you were good. That was good.
I got this one right. I would love for you to kind of just for our audience, really dive in your whole entire journey, and you could go back to when you were young, like youth athlete, kind of things you did from a basketball player, because especially with the prominence that women's basketball has now. I know a lot of people would love to hear that journey, because people want to, hopefully if they have a good athlete, want to try and replicate what you've been able to do. So talk about that whole entire journey, and you got as much time as you need. So there's no rush from that.
Yeah. So I started playing basketball when I was pretty young. I think I was around like 6 years old, and just playing in like youth, like church leagues and stuff. So like my aunt was my coach a lot of the time, like my aunt, my mom, or like something like that. So mostly like it was really like a big family thing when I was younger. And then I started taking basketball like pretty seriously, like I think around like 10 or 11, and I started like joining an AAU program. I played for Team Sharp, which is like still around today actually, and played for them for a little bit. I like wasn't like the best player on my team, I'd say. I think for like the church leagues mostly, like I was the best, but then you get to AAU and kind of like it's a group of everyone who's really good. So yeah, and then headed over and started playing for Team Rio and JSC. So JSC is run by Darnko Pell, my high school coach, which is really great. That's kind of how I met her and got into that. And it was really awesome because my JSC teammates then became like some of them became my high school teammates, which was really awesome. Like kind of just going into high school with them and kind of staying with them. Like you kind of already know their game, which made it a lot easier to transition. And then I ended up switching my AAU team after COVID, because COVID just made it super difficult for like practicing. We had to practice outside sometimes, and it was so weird. And I think it also kind of hurt a lot of like the girls my age in the recruiting process, because we weren't kind of looked at the same way as like other people who were older or like younger. We didn't get the same kind of time to like go to visit colleges and stuff. But yeah, and then I ended up my last AAU team I played for was the Philadelphia Bells with Mike Steidel, who's my coach. He was like such a great guy. I love him. I still talk to him today. My team was awesome. We actually ended up like having a lot of girls play Division I basketball and playing like in college at places and being really successful. So it's just kind of like I feel like all of that stuff, and like playing for St. John Vianney in high school, which like such a great program. I didn't really play a lot until my junior and senior year, but I think that really helped me like develop, and just like playing every day against those girls in practice kind of got me ready for college. And I committed to Bucknell kind of early, like around spring of my junior year. So I kind of just I didn't really have a lot of offers out of high school. I think I had about five. And like when you're playing with Zoe Brooks, who has like all these schools looking at her, it's kind of just like you kind of know your role at that point. You're like, all right, like this is like who I am as a player. Like I'm a mid-major player, which is like great. Like it's fantastic like to be a mid-major player. Like people can really like strive at that level. And I think like getting a great education above all is like the most important. So I went to Bucknell, had like no like great expectations for myself. Like didn't think I would be starting 3 games in. It was just like some type of I don't want to say miracle because I feel like that's super bad, but our starting post player twisted her ankle in a shoot around on like air. Like she fell. There was no one near her. And like sprained her ankle and was out for like 2 weeks. And our head coach needed someone like to fill the spot and he chose me to play in my first ever like starting in my first ever college game against Louisville. And that was just something else. I think Olivia Cochran, who's their starting post player, I think she's either in the WNBA or like playing overseas somewhere, but she
Right.
was good. Like she was all ACC. Like I was terrified. But so I don't even remember like how I played that game, but I don't think I had any points. I was so nervous. But then the next game we played Western Kentucky and I ended up playing really well and it kind of like solidified my spot. And when our starting post player came back, my coach ended up like reworking our entire offense to include 2 post players. So that way like we could both play and both
Smart guy.
start. Yeah. And it worked out really well for us. I mean, she ended up transferring after that year. She's at Northwestern now. So I'll get to see her in like about a month when we play each other, which is really great. But she's been doing great there. So yeah, and after that, it was kind of just like I just kind of had like a role on the team. Like I wasn't our best player, but I was just like there to, you know, be like the hustle player, like get rebounds, make shots, like when needed. And then we didn't finish great that year. I don't even know what our record was, but I just I don't think it was
Right.
like fantastic. Um, my sophomore year, we had like a whole new team coming in. I think we had 8 new players and 4 returners. So it was kind of like a whole different type of animal and we just kind of had to like get to know each other first, which was weird. And like you would think like, okay, 8 new people, 4 people who already knew each other, like I don't know how this is gonna go, but we actually all got along so well. Like everyone got along. Like I still talk to all of them. And my sophomore year, like I really kind of I think like blossomed as a player and like did really well. I like worked so much in the off season with like my position coach and just like worked really hard in practice. And I had a goal for myself at the beginning of the year. Like I knew I wanted to be Patriot League Player of the Year, and I kind of just like strived for that every game that we played. Like yeah, like we were gonna win, but like we were gonna win, and I wanted to dominate the game. So yeah, I think just going throughout the rest of the season, like that's just how I played and how I like wanted to play. And then at the end of the season, I ended up winning Patriot League Player of the Year, won All Defensive Team, and won, I think it was All Tournament Team and All Academic Team. My
Well,
teammates,
that's a great
yeah.
part. And that's a standard, right? Like that's kind of from where you were high school wise, the academic piece of it, which is usually the forgotten piece, right? Like that's
Yeah.
usually the last team everybody lists, but that was like instilled in you guys in high school, and you just continued to take it. I mean, look, you're not getting into or playing at Bucknell without that academic standard, right? And
Mhm.
now, so to me, like that always like should be higher on the list than most people, but for you, that was just like a standard that was totally built in. So you
Oh,
get all those
definitely.
accolades, right? Like you got those accolades, and now what's the next move?
Yeah, next move, I was kind of just like, all right, I feel like as much as I love my team and I love my friends at my old school, I kind of was like, I've kind of hit my ceiling here. Like, what more can I do besides like personal goals? Like, what more can I do here?
Right.
And I decided to take myself and put myself into the transfer portal. Kind of just like I was thinking mostly like smaller, like Power 4 teams that like hadn't been doing well, like kind of like that um kind of looks, but ended up getting some really big looks. My dad is a school teacher, so and a football coach. He actually coached at VNA a couple years
Yep.
ago.
Okay.
But he was my parents were super big on the academic piece, so wherever I went, like it was gonna be like a great academic school as well as basketball. So Michigan kind of checked all those boxes. I did visit a couple other schools that also fit the criteria, but I think just overall, Michigan was like my favorite place. Like I kind of went here and I kind of knew I loved Coach Rico. She was great. She was so funny on all my visits. Like or on my visit here, but when I would call her after, my other visits and stuff, she'd be like, "You better not have committed, or like I'm gonna have to beat someone up." Like she was just funny, like funny stuff
Right.
like that. She was awesome. She's from New Jersey too, which is
Well,
really cool.
That Jersey personality helps because not many people understand most of us. Believe me, like that's
she would talk
that.
about like my jersey. She even says it now. She's like my Jersey girl, like Jersey strong. Makes all those jokes. She's a character, but yeah. And I chose Michigan. I think it's just like a great school. Complete like flip flop from the culture of Bucknell, like smaller school. Not as much of an emphasis on athletics, and here bigger school, huge emphasis on athletics, but also like the academic piece. Like people come here if they want to be successful in life. So that's kind of why I chose Michigan, and here I am. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. It's a great place to be. It's great athletically. It's great academically. It's a unique place, Michigan. There's no doubt about it. And you're obviously the Big Ten, especially with the transfer portal and the success of the Big Ten schools, because there's so many schools in the Big Ten, right? Big Ten has become, really it's Big Ten and SEC as the two conferences that are the dominant conferences in probably most sports, but obviously basketball, women's and men's basketball and football, those are the two dominant conferences, and they've really become dominant. Other than the outlier in basketball, which is my alma mater, UConn, which is in which we call it the Big Least, but it's but they do well even though they're in a conference that is not as strong. But yeah, it's really an awesome journey. I think, listening to your journey from a basketball standpoint, like it sounds like that's like from a lot of the people that I know that have gone through it and gone on to be successful in basketball, that sounds like kind of like a steady journey that really is important. That mix of AAU, the school teams that you play for, and finding the right mix of players with you throughout that process, and getting with a high school program that's a great program that stabilizes it while you're going and playing club, obviously, in these elite tournaments with the elite teams, stuff like that. What town are you from, by the way? I'm guessing you're Monmouth County if you played for Team Rio. No. Okay.
No, I'm a Middlesex, but I'm like right.
Oh, Middlesex. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm from South Amboy, so
Amboy. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a quick 10-minute ride to Vienna, right down the Parkway.
Yes,
Super easy.
South Amboy is. It's right there. Okay. Yeah. I figured you were very close. And so, what did you go to Catholic elementary school?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic elementary school from like pre-K to 5th grade. And then my school was like so small that the diocese shut it down.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I had public school for middle school and then Catholic high school. So.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That seems to be the path, because you mentioned that you played in like the Catholic school leagues when you were younger and those kind of things.
Yeah, the church leagues and stuff.
Yeah, the church leagues, absolutely.
Those were the best.
Yeah. They were so fun. I loved them.
They're not really a thing, you know what I mean? Like up north too, because we're both from North Jersey, right? Like it was always CYO basketball, right? Like that's what we did in middle school. We had our, you had your school team, your middle school team, but your CYO league was like, that was a level that was kind of a higher level than what your school team was, or at least we looked at it that way. And that kind of what it was. It's a shame that a lot of dioceses like kind of are shutting down. It was like every year we would lose a team, but that's kind of where we grew up within it. Obviously your AAU world and your AAU experience, right, is a big factor into this. And we see it, across the board in sports now. Dave's son is around 10 years old. He's in this culture too. We see it with baseball, with basketball, soccer, right? There's so many of these travel teams, travel clubs and whatnot. What were some of those boxes that those AAU teams that you played for needed to check in order for you to play?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think for my first team, it was kind of just like, all right, like this is the first one. Like I'm just hoping to make the team. And then my second, like joining JSC and everything, it was kind of just like a level up. Like Dawn was such a great coach, and it was kind of like,
it's wild.
Yeah, like it was kind of like a lot of kids there would go to Vienna and play for her there, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I was taking that route. But I think like you just need really like a good coach who's gonna like hold players accountable, and then you also need like great players who are gonna like great skill wise, but then also want to develop and want to be good teammates. So I think it's kind of like a combination like of things like from the program standpoint, but then also like who you're playing with, like player wise.
That's a great point. So
Huge point.
yeah, the two things, and I think that's the hardest things for at young athletes and parents to understand. And you really brought up right away in the first sentence, which is coaches that are really like coaches that are holding you accountable, and that players that you want to be around players that want to be really good, right?
Hmm.
And I think those are really big things because
Huge.
especially as you talked about, like when you were 6 years old, up until you're around 10, you're kind of just playing and enjoying it probably,
Yeah.
and just getting after it. Not that you didn't enjoy it going forward. Obviously, you always loved it. That's why you still play. But what it is, and then when you got to be like 10, 11 years old, you're like, okay, I want to play an AAU team. I want to see what that's like. Okay, this is something I want. I want more of this, right? Like, how do we continue to find the right? That's how you found Dawn and the
Hmm.
and those kind of things. I think that's a really really good process that a lot of people go through. But it's interesting, right? Because you probably like when you're growing up, you have certain groups of kids that you're friends with, but now as you start to ascend, right, and realize I want a little more and you start to figure it out. I think that's always difficult for a young kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, because they're trying they know they want more, and your parents obviously were instrumental in helping to guide you through that, obviously, right?
Hmm.
But it had talk about like when you started to think to yourself, and it's hard to think back to your 10, 11, 12-year-old self, but because you're an adult now, you know what I mean? But even
Yeah.
me at 51 years old, like I think back to my when I was that age, like when did it start to go from okay, I had some of these dreams just because I watched it on TV and I enjoyed playing, to like, how can I start to like knock down some of these dreams? So, kind of talk about when you started as a young kid, think,
Yeah.
wow, this might be something that like, and what that process was like for you.
Yeah. So I think just like being, playing CYO and all that stuff, like I really really did well with that stuff, like that kind of basketball. I feel like when I think back to it, like I would think I don't want to like sound like cocky or anything, but
Oh,
like thinking back, I feel like I was always like the best player, if not like one of the best players on all my
right,
teams. So I think my parents kind of saw that in me and like knew, all right, like she can play at a higher level than this, and then like that's when you kind of start like researching. I feel like it's hard for parents when like my parents, I was their first kid, like I don't think any of my older, like maybe my cousins or something, I don't know if any of them ever played like AAU basketball. So, especially girls basketball. So, I think like for them is kind of like looking for teams. Like, I don't even know how my mom or dad ended up finding Team Sharp. But yeah, it was just like kind of you kind of just have to like recognize your talent. I feel like as a parent, like you kind of have to recognize like, is my kid actually good at this? Do they like to do this?
right,
Do they want to like take it a step further, or is this like as high as they can go? So yeah, I played for Team Sharp, and I just remember like trying out and being super nervous. And I mean, there were definitely days of AAU practice where like I did not want to go. I was like, and I think it's because my coach was so hard on us, and I think it may not have seemed like it at the time, but I'm like reflecting back now, I definitely think we needed it. And a lot of my teammates went on to be like successful athletes. Like one of my first ever AAU teammates for Team Sharp, like she plays basketball now, I think, at New Hampshire, so Division 1. Another one runs track at Notre Dame. So just like that kind of instilling like just hard work and like a work ethic and kind of just like perseverance through like adversity and stuff like that. But growing up, like I always watched UConn and Notre Dame. There was like a big split in my
oh,
house. Like my little sister loved UConn, Taylor. She was like a big fan, and I was like a big like Notre Dame advocate. Like I hated UConn, so we would like fight about it.
I love it. That's great.
And both of us, neither of us ended up going to either of those schools. So I think it's just funny now to like look at like how far we've come, and like she's going to Duke and I'm going to Michigan, and like hopefully we could like play each other next year. I think it would be really awesome just to like kind of see the matchup. But yeah, just kind of that's how I grew up. AAU and watching TV.
It's people don't really realize that like those paths are really really important as the athlete really starts to like football, likes basketball, and
Yeah.
in particular women's basketball. So with women's basketball, as you start to find those groups, as soon as you join one of those teams, you're like, wow,
Yeah,
all,
definitely.
all of these girls want to be really good athletes. They want to be really
Mhm.
good players. And then you go to another team and they have a similar mentality. It might be a different style of team, but they have the similar mentality, right? They want to be great athletes. They want to be successful. Um, did you, as you started going through, and then when you got to Vienna, when you were around all those athletes, did you start to think to yourself, like, all right, I need to figure out more of the things that I need to do, right? And talk with your
Yeah.
parents, like, to continue to improve my journey, right? So,
Mhm.
because once you get to that point, you start to get to that point, that realization, there's obviously a lot of different ways you can do it, right? You could, some people get a coach that helps them with something on like personal coach. Some people
Mhm.
go to group training. Some people go just play in their team. Some people just do the workouts on their own, right? What did you kind of start to think about, and what were some of the things that you started to do to help take your skills to the next level?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like, I really never used, like, trainers and stuff, like, my parents, like, didn't really understand that stuff, and, like, I just never did it, I think until, like, my senior year of high school, and I kind of, like my family friend, Kristen Samoji, she's, like, a big, like,
Oh
shooting
yeah,
trainer and stuff, yeah, so,
my
like,
son
we
went to her one summer down at the beach. She was doing some shooting stuff, and we are like, oh yeah, and she was coaching. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Kristen's awesome because I feel like she's,
Great
like,
player
so
too.
yeah, she's so laid back and, like, her style and, like, because like, her I think, like, her mentality is, like, "If you don't wanna be here, don't be here." Like, if you don't wanna get it put in the work, like, you don't have to, like, you're paying me to do this, like, I'm just trying to help you. So, like, she's super, like, cool when we shoot and stuff, but, like, also still really helpful. But yeah, I didn't really start doing any of that stuff till, like, I could drive and, like, take myself to them. Like, my parents only ever, like, brought me to not that they wouldn't, like, do that, which I think they would. We just,
Right.
like,
Oh yeah,
never
they would
yeah,
have.
they would've, we just never really did that, until, like, I could, like, do it myself and, like, drive. So, also that stuff is so expensive, I don't know, like, a lot of trainers, like, I even have gone to other ones and it'll be, like, $60 for, like, an hour, and it's just for one person, and, like, that's just when you add it all up, if you're
More
going,
than
like
that now, Ashley.
You're an
I can speak
adult.
from experience.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and Ashley, it's
No,
something
it's
that
very true though. You're
yeah,
very
no,
right.
100%. It's something that we talk about all the time, right? Like there is a monetary, like, there's a value that's put on, like, everybody wants to go to these trainers, right? Parents, they're trying to figure it all out. But look, you're a single mom and your son wants to go to a quarterback trainer and it's
Mhm.
this much money. Like there's a monetary aspect to this entire culture.
Yeah,
Now, for
definitely.
you, like a little different because right with Dawn and
Yep.
all of those kind of things, like you have that type of trainer culture already built in, right? Because
Mhm.
Dawn does great things with the players like on her team. They work her camp or they're around that
Mhm.
all the time. She's constantly, I mean, she lives at SJV in that gym, right? It's always open
And the
for you
really
guys
good
to come
AAU
back.
programs also have
100%.
practices too, not just
Correct.
so it's not just the fact that they're playing games, right? They actually are coaching
Working
them.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the really good ones have that built in, which is one of the things that is I started to go through this with my son. Like I've
Mhm.
learned that now we're lucky that because we're playing the Catholic school team and they have this Monmouth Ocean Catholic School League. So besides
Oh,
playing like
nice.
yeah, so they're able to actually play versus each Catholic school. So that's kind of I mean, I guess that's probably unique to Catholic school in Monmouth and
Mhm.
Ocean County that they have that built in. But 100%, like I thought the greatest part about all that stuff is they practice twice a week, right? So
Right.
practicing twice a week with that team. He's practicing once a week with his club team. And then now besides, even if you're going to go and get any like training, he's practicing a lot. So going to get better, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah,
especially
there
if
was
you got good coaches, right?
Yeah, no, there was actually a point when I was in 7th grade where I was playing on an AAU team. I was playing for a travel basketball team, not even a church league, like travel team.
Right.
My middle school team, and then the travel team I was playing for. I don't even know if I was playing for a travel team that like was not my town, and like in order to do that, we had to play for like a rec league in the town. So I was on, so I
Well, you
was on
had to
full.
show that you were lived in town, Ash. So
Yeah,
like,
I
you
did
know,
not live in
but
Colonia, New Jersey, but we were
it's
we
a
were kicking
statute of
butt.
limitations, so you're good. You're
Yeah.
good. You're good. And I'm sure that, you know, it's all good.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
were
big thing.
kicking butt on that team. We were good, but um yeah, I was playing on like 4 teams at once, and it was just like I feel like I had practice after practice like every single day. Like I'd have middle school practice from 3 to 5 after school, and then I'd have travel practice from 6 to 8. Like I would go home and eat dinner, and then I'd have to get driven straight to like a different practice. And it was
Right.
all actually I ended up breaking my foot that year, like I think a month into doing all this. So it was like then I had a big break, but yeah, it was just like a lot. It's a lot, especially when you're just on all those teams and you're practicing all the time. Like even in high school, my AAU practice, we would practice, I think it was 4 days a week, and it was an
Yeah,
hour and
it's
10-minute
amazing.
drive,
Right.
like to
Wow.
practice. Yeah. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday practice. And like they were hard. And I think it like really helped though. I mean, my coach was really he was funny, but like he knew how to put us to work. Like super fit guy, like those types where they're just
Right.
like
Right.
they think we could run forever and we can't. But no, but I had a lot of fun.
Well,
And I think like
especially for you, Ash, right? Because like your statute, right? Like what's
yeah,
your measurables are what? Your how tall, what's your measurables?
I'm about like 6'3". I think like around 170.
Right.
I feel like weight like really fluctuates during the season just because of like how much we're competing all the time. And then my mile time, I think at like the end of the summer was like a 6:30, which was like my fastest mile time ever. But I think I think after like
Which is,
this season, get it
I'm
down
just
more.
referencing it because, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
look, 6'3", you're on the taller end of the female
Yeah.
side, right? Like,
Yeah.
you stand out, obviously, right? But for the ability to add in all of that extra strength training and the
Hmm.
running aspect of it, right? And just all of those things that go into it, it has to be something that's instilled as a young kid that, look, this aspect of it is just as important as getting your shots up, as getting your slides in, right? Like all of those things have to be in. And that's part of it as well, right? Like being in the weight room. I'm sure you've seen a huge change just from high
Definitely.
school to Bucknell, from Bucknell to Michigan on how
Hmm.
much that aspect of it factors into it, right? And now it's something that you can relay to your younger sister of like, hey, like I know you're like this is your path, but you better get in the weight room and you better make sure
Yeah.
you can do these types of things. How much emphasis or how different is that, right? Seeing that emphasis and the growth and the more focus on the strength side of it, the off the court stuff, the lifting. Look, I'm sure you have meal plans of what you're eating when you can and all that
She's got
craziness. I
everything.
know. I mean, she
She's
has
got it all
access
at
now.
Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like the access to those things and how much emphasis is put on that. I don't think the younger kids and parents understand how important that is,
Hmm.
right? So just touch on that a little bit, just how much that factors into you having the ability to play at such a high level.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first I want to say I've told Taylor. So Taylor is like preparing herself. I think she's like definitely saw me go through it here. Like my first summer at Michigan was like super hard, and I think like her going to a school at the same level, she's
Yeah,
been like working. She's just
Duke's, you know what I mean? Duke's right there. So, she's getting ready.
yeah, no, definitely. She's in the gym a lot. I think like her specifically, like she is like heavier on her feet than I am, so she's like trying to run a lot more, and I think she'll take that up and like after this like high school season is over. And then I think like the weight room stuff kind of like you can do a lot at home and like by yourself before you get to college. But I think like once you get into college and get into the groove of things, it's all about just like staying consistent and like how you're eating and how you're sleeping and like how you're doing stuff like off the court and out of the gym. That's gonna really help you develop in the gym. Like if you don't eat a full meal, like at least 2 hours before practice, like you're not gonna feel great in practice, you know? And I didn't really learn that until I got to college, where it
Right.
was like, especially here, it was like oh wow, like
Boom. Right. You're like,
yeah,
what? You're like, okay.
yeah. My first, actually not here, but my first ever college lift at Bucknell. I remember it was early morning. I didn't eat anything, and I thought I was gonna die. I was like, there is
Listen,
no way.
we've all been there, right? For two guys
Yeah.
that played college football, like that first morning workout, right? Because they always put it in the morning. It's always
Mhm.
like it's more of it's a mental test on top of the physical.
Yep.
You're like, I've always done this. I can handle this, right? And then you go in, and it is just like it's mind blowing, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
it really opens your eyes into okay, like even though this isn't a game, like this is a game. Like I have
Mhm.
to prepare, like you know what I mean, to get you into that mindset physically, mentally, the whole works to it. And it's something that we see like our young athletes, we try to tell them, but like you don't figure it out until you actually go through it, right? So I think the fact that you realize that real quick, you know, and then all of us now it's okay, this is how I have to go about it, right? And now it just, and once you see the results, right?
Mhm.
Like once you start to
Definitely.
see, oh wow, like I can run up and down for, you know, a 2-minute stretch before they blow the whistle and I'm good, right? Or we
Yeah.
can get out, like I can bang a body down here and all right, maybe I wasn't able to move that spot on the block, but now I can, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think that aspect of it like just adds to it, right? And I mean, I'm sure you can attest to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think just like being a post player too, it's like so much more than just running. Like it's a lot of physical. Like I'm like seeing that a lot more now, and just like playing against our like practice players in practice, and like just playing in like those bigger games, like our game against Oregon and Washington. Like these are like bigger post players, and like I'm not like the traditional like stocky post player. I'm
Right.
very
No,
like, yeah, no, definitely not.
you're still considered lean for what you are. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like that's what it is.
Yeah, so it definitely makes it a lot more difficult, you know, like my body type is just different than theirs. Like I that's why I really try to like get better in like the weight room, you know. Um
You
it's
guys
definitely
don't
a
play
lot.
Iowa State, do you?
No, thank goodness.
You
Thank goodness, not this year.
back people now to like, well, oh my goodness.
Yeah, our Michigan actually had to play them last year
Oh,
in
you
the
did.
tournament, and they were running like more of like a five guard type of lineup.
Right.
So one of the girls who was about like 6'1", like guard, had to guard their post player Audie Crooks,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I don't even know how many points Audie had, but
Yeah.
I think Michigan won. So
Right.
whatever they did, it
It's
worked.
almost like she's gonna score. You
Yeah.
gotta like, yeah,
Let's
you gotta
shut down the other
shut
four.
down the other four. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just manage Audie, like just keep her from just like knocking you into the second row. Uh, no doubt. I think that's really what's really cool about the women's game is that it's constantly evolving. So you know, in like the 90s when UConn's ascendance and Tennessee, like when they were really good, and then through the early 2000s, it was a certain type of game, right? Like Diana Taurasi, you know, and then it started to shift where there was a lot of talent everywhere, right? Everybody
Mhm.
has talent, and it allowed for all different types of players to really emerge, and that's what you have in the game today, different styles and the way that the AAU game emerged for women, and obviously the WNBA and you know
Yeah.
having and even Europe, right? The opportunities to be able to play somewhere post college if you want to,
Yep.
and actually earn a living doing that, which is really cool. So those kind of things have really evolved. And by the way, I wasn't a stew connoisseur, but we run a one of our podcasts is we do Husky Hoop. So we do the women and men, and we have a one of the women who used to play for UConn back in the early 2000s, Maria Conlon. She coaches at a Division III school now. But
Mhm.
like, so I learned a ton about. So we're always. I have to be prepared when I go to the show and stuff like that. So I got to go make sure I read and watch everything. But it's really amazing how it's continued to evolve, and it's you know I'm curious, like, do you feel like all the stuff you've done really over time is stacked on top of each other, meaning like kind of your building blocks when you were 10, 11 to when you became a high school player and you learned XYZ skills and got stronger, and then when you were at Bucknell and now to Michigan? Like, did you feel that this has all like been like a stacking process where each step along the way you're like refining your skills and continuing to improve it?
Yeah, definitely. I think just like going through like when I was younger and kind of hitting the ceiling, like I said, like I felt like I was kind of one of the best players on my church league basketball teams and stuff. So kind of hitting my ceiling there and then moving up to AAU. And then it was kind of like, all right, like I want to go to a high school that I can like really play well and like develop my skill and like, hey, maybe may not play like my first year or two, but I'll like become a better player because of it. So,
Well,
and
I
then kind
think
of just,
that too, Ash,
yeah,
like, and not to cut you off, but I just
no,
think
you're
that
fine.
it's just such a pivotal part
Yeah.
of it is you went to that high school like with that understanding and sort of knowledge, like, hey, I'm not going to play varsity until I'm here because, but for my future, this is the best move. Cause I'm sure you could have went to a public high school, started as a freshman, dominated, done the whole thing, but you chose, no, I'm going to SJV, historically one of the best girls programs in the state, if not always the best, where I'm going to play not only against higher level talent in the teams that we play, right? Because SJV goes out of state and you travel and you do that, but also every day in practice, I'm going to be going against like-minded girls that want to be great, right? High level players in practice that are going to push me and not give a shit how good I am. A coach who's not going to treat me any different because I'm really good. That I think is a huge piece, especially now with the transfer portal.
Pushing you, right? That push.
Yeah.
Correct. That constant level of like, I need to work and I need to get better. And look, I am sure there's days when you're sitting there going, I should be starting, or look, I'm better than that player. But you know what? Like, and look, Dawn spoke on, and I've seen it firsthand, how she runs her practices, right? Like they are extremely difficult and they are competitive, whether it's, drill work or actual team sessions, groupings and that stuff, right? Like that just kind of, I think making that choice, and look, we can go back to the academic side of it, of like schools and all that too, that add to it, that set you up for the future of, whatever. But I just think making that choice with that understanding of, hey, it's not going to be like I'm the star and it's going to be easy. Like you wanted it to be hard for a reason, right? And I'm sure maybe you didn't at first, right? And it was like, but you knew for your future, this was the best move. I think a lot of our young athletes, they're so quick to like pull the trigger to go to something better or something. The grass is always greener and whatever. Ultimately,
or friendlier. Like, so that's the other thing.
And maybe easy is not the right word, Dave. You know what I mean? But it's more
like, I always say like one of the hard things for kids, and you see this too probably in high school, is that it's not that they necessarily want easy, but they want like this reassurance that you like me.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. The acceptance piece.
That's hard for an athlete to realize that
very hard.
Will be tough on me and they still like me, right?
Correct.
But the faster you embrace that, the faster you can get better, I think.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's spot on. And that's exactly what it is. It's why, look, I may get on a player in practice and be really tough, but at the end of it, you have to have that conversation of, hey, just make sure, or I just want you to understand why I'm being so hard on you right now. It's not because I dislike you as a person. I'm not picking on you. This, you know what I mean? Like I'm pushing you to a level that I know you're capable to getting to. And right now I know it seems uncomfortable and it sucks and you hate me and that's great. But 2-3 years down the road, when like all of those things that you want are coming to fruition, like you're going to understand and accept that, right? And I think for you, like it's a reason you still talk to all your AAU coaches or the girls that were on your team that I'm sure, look, you probably fought some of those girls in practice and you know what, like now you're best friends, right? But I do want to touch on this real quick at the girls, and this is coming from somebody who look, I coached girls flag for the first time this year, right?
Oh, awesome.
And we talk about, it was amazing. And we talk about, and I had a sister that, younger than me, played college basketball, right? Like, I understand the difference in men's and women's sports, okay, is that, and this is something, this is what I've personally seen. The females in a locker room, right? Like they need to be on the same page, and for the most part, like all want it. The better teams are better friends and really tight on and off the court. Guys, same thing, but they can almost get away with not being friends as much and still, when they get in the locker room, handle their business.
Respect, but not necessarily being
correct. Right. Like
Right.
they don't need to be chopping it up outside off the locker room or hanging out or whatever. Right. Now, when they do, it's great. Right. And it's the best of both worlds.
home run.
For
Right.
females, I feel like that, I don't want to say cattiness, but right, like that little, those things can slowly deteriorate a team and the locker room itself, right? Is that something that you agree with, and you can kind of talk about a little bit, Ash, in terms of the teams that you've played on and how those relationships off the court just help that team win on the court?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think like I've actually talked about this with my dad, and he kind of said the same thing you guys have said. Like he's like, I wasn't friends with a lot of my teammates. Like I didn't need to be. Like we played on the field or whatever, and that was it. Like, and I think that's like another thing like with college, kind of like I think great friendships, like as a women's basketball player, like definitely help your game because you're not like, I don't know. I don't sometimes in the game I don't really think about that stuff, but like I think for some people it can really like leave like an impression like I don't like this person, like I'm not passing them the ball. Like stupid stuff like that. Or like
right. Oh no, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
I've seen
little things. Which like may seem dumb, but I also think like in college you'll kind of realize like a lot of people like I think you just have to be civil with people, your teammates. Like you may not like them, but like you have to be okay to play with them and like be around them. And like you can put on a front, but like when college is over, you don't have to talk to them again. Like you don't. I have some college teammates from Bucknell that like I haven't spoken to. Not saying like if I saw them, I wouldn't be like, oh hi, like I wouldn't be like friendly or anything. Like we just like haven't talked and like I'm not like mad about it. Like there's no bad blood or anything. It's just kind of like how it is. So I think like definitely the cattiness plays like a factor. Like you definitely have to have some sort of a relationship when you're playing like with girls, or at least like some sort of like mutual like
understanding.
I would say like peace, mutual understanding, definitely. Yeah.
There's no doubt. I think I brought it up a couple of times. Me and Derek have talked about it. There's no reason for you to be familiar with, but you might know the name Mia Hamm. I don't know if you remember that name. She was a soccer player.
I do know the name. Yes.
She's like a legendary soccer player, right? And the teams that she played on, the guy who was the coach of that team, he eventually became the Olympic coach, and he was originally a men's soccer coach. And when he was a men's soccer coach, like he would start practice, just get right into it, and they would get right after it. And some of the guys loved each other. Some of the guys could care less about each other, but like it didn't really affect, for the most part, what their performance was. And when he took over the women's program, when he switched over to women, he did the same thing. And like they weren't playing well, right? And then he couldn't figure it out. And then he saw one day before practice, all the women were kind of like in a circle and talking to each other, like regular, before practice, like they were there and like it clicked on him. He's like, I got to do things to make sure that everybody understands and trusts each other before we really get into the work. So starting to do those kind of things from a relationship standpoint. So exactly what you said. So the women would pass the ball to the other person because they not just trusted them as their skill set, but they at least, thought, hey, I like this person enough to get him the ball. Right. And then obviously it worked and they ended up becoming this, obviously Mia Hamm probably helped, but they became legendary.
One of those.
It always helps to have good athletes. Legendary program and all that kind of stuff. But it always sticks with me as like that, just men and women and how they approach sports and how they are with each other might be a little bit different. And it's important to be cognizant of that as a coach, because if you want to perform and succeed, you got to be able to know the difference and how they all act. And I think that's a really important thing. And I think that, Dawn obviously understands that uniquely on a way that very few people, maybe in the whole entire country, do, right, with her kind of success. And she's a female example. Obviously Gino on UConn's side, even though I know you hate him, but one day, if you all of a sudden score, you start averaging a ton of points in Michigan, maybe Gino gives you a call or something like that. But
I don't know. I only got a year left. So
yeah, you never know with NIL what can happen in this world. You never know.
100%.
Just keep playing and play great. But yeah, but I always thought that, like, I was always amazed at how he really understand that, and he's a man, right? Like, so he understood that with the women that he coached, and so I think it's really, really important. It's really amazing the way that your journey has continued to grow as an athlete. I'm curious as to, like, so you talked about, like, how you went to Vienna, right? And part of why you went to be around a great coach like Dawn and the program, and you knew that maybe you wouldn't play right away, but you would develop, right?
Yeah.
It's just such a mature decision. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
But on the
I
flip
look
side,
at
in
it,
college, it kind of flipped, right? So it flipped where you got an opportunity really early.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I'm not saying you planned it this way, but you got an opportunity real early, and obviously you succeeded at Bucknell, and now you're able to go play at Michigan and transfer and go play at obviously a Big Ten school, phenomenal program, and be able to have that opportunity. So you've been on both sides of it, right? You've been on the side where you had to wait, and you've been on the side where you might have thought you might be waiting, but then you were obviously thrust into it, and you really did great, and you were able to capitalize on those opportunities. As a player, what do you think is really important? And I understand that you're still going through it, so it's a tougher question. But what do you think is important from a mind frame standpoint in how you think about, like, when when I chose Bucknell, when I decided to go to Michigan, like, what was kind of the thought process for you? Because I think a lot of kids in high school are going through this, no matter what
Yeah.
sport they play, and it's very overwhelming. I'm sure it was a little bit, but you had great parents, so that obviously helps you.
Oh,
And there's
helps
no
a
doubt.
ton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
And look, even if you were the oldest and they didn't have any clue as to how this whole process went down, right? Like, they went and found the answers, right? Like, whereas a
Definitely.
lot of parents get deterred by that, which is why we like to do this and kind of help our parents along the way, literally kind of hold their hand. And look, there's no textbook on how to get this thing done, right? But we want to just make sure that they feel confident or confident enough in the
And
process
the athlete.
and to put
The
them and help
athlete,
them,
right?
right?
So to think about, because sometimes you end up, listen, sometimes you want to go. That's why I want to hear kind of what your thought process. Sometimes your parents want you to go somewhere, and you say, I want to go here, right? Sometimes you're both aligned. I'm guessing when your sister's going to Duke, they probably were all like jumping up and down, right? Just like when you decided to go to Bucknell is a great school, by the way. I don't want to, because it's a
Amazing.
phenomenal school, academically, like. People graduate from there and get unbelievable jobs. But obviously going to Michigan, that's a big time program, right? Like, you're probably up and down. But talk about your thought process, because you made a great decision going to Bucknell and another great decision to go to Michigan. And I want people to understand how you kind of went through that.
Yeah. I think, like, going from, like, a basketball standpoint, like the playing time and whatnot, like, I'm like, it can be like a decision, like, yeah, like, it's very mature decision, be like, okay, I'm just gonna develop, but I'm not gonna lie, it definitely sucks. Like, it sucks at times. It's not gonna be fun, as much as, like, you can, like, invest yourself in the process. Like, when games are happening and you're sitting there on the bench and you're echoing, and, like, it's a terrible feeling. And, like, I'm sure a lot of people go through that. I mean, I went through it all of high school mostly. So, like, it sucks, but you know what, like, you kind of, like, you live and you learn, and getting to, my senior year and being able to play, like, really kind of made it all worth it. And then college, the recruitment process, I feel like my dad put a lot of work and effort. Like, my dad cut my highlight tapes and, like, would send them to coaches, like, all the
It's
time.
awesome.
Like, yeah, like, so many emails and stuff, because he kind of knew how to do it from, like, a football standpoint with,
Right.
like, his players.
Totally
Yeah.
helps. right?
Yeah,
Like,
it
I'm not gonna
helps
lie,
so
but that
much.
definitely helps. And we talk about the cross between like sports and whatnot. Like, it's all still the same type of thing, right? Like, there may
Yeah.
be intricacies that are individualized to women's basketball or football, but it's all still kind of in the same realm. Whereas if you have some idea, you can go and figure it out when you're asking the right questions. And to have the guidance from your AAU coaches, from Dawn, who had gone through the process and
Mhm.
understood what it would take, right? And you know what I mean? Like, that helps as well, right? So
Yeah.
obviously that's a big piece.
Yeah, my AAU coach was like super helpful too, just like reaching out to teams and stuff. And then Dawn like would obviously like help in any way that she could. Like if coaches would reach out to her, like she would talk to them and like put in a good word and everything. So I think it was just like a combination of things. Like you want to have good coaches that are gonna help you with that, but like you also have to do stuff yourself. Like if it wasn't my dad doing it, like I would have to do it. So it's just like a lot of work. So like just making sure you have like good tape and everything and like making sure that you're sending your stuff to the right schools. Like you don't want to send your stuff to like schools that are way out of like your reach, like and just stuff like that. Or
Absolutely.
yeah, like there's no point. Like you're at that point, you're just like wasting your own time and wasting their time. Like there's no, yeah. So I think just like kind of finding like that right middle ground for yourself and like kind of I would say like evaluating your own talent to what level you can play at. Like you have to be honest with yourself and you can't like when I was coming out of high school, I would not have sent like stuff to Michigan and been like, oh, hey, like I want to play for here, or like send stuff to UConn.
Right.
Like that was just like way out of reach for me. And obviously, like now it's like it's a reality, which is
Yes.
crazy. But
So
Well,
cool.
you bet on
yeah,
yourself too, Ashley. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you understood. And look, had you been a player 5, 6, 7 years ago, this may not have been a thing, right? Like,
hmm
you may have been at Bucknell for your entire career, smashed every record, right? Like, won
yeah,
player of the year multiple times. Like, the ability to now transfer up or leave and go somewhere bigger is a
hmm
trend that we've seen across sports, in the last year, 2 years, where it's
yeah,
really ramped up to now you're talking about over 3,500 guys in the portal when it comes to college football, right? Like, it's just a whole different world. Whereas, look, if Bucknell or a Patriot League or an FCS or a lower level school is your opportunity where they want you to go bet on
yeah,
yourself like you
exactly.
did, right? And now play really well, handle your business, and these
hmm
opportunities will present themselves. Like you said, even when you took that risk and put yourself in the portal, you weren't thinking Big Ten, Michigan. You were thinking lower level P4, right?
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
now kind of solidifies for you, like, hey, I did it right. And look at this opportunity that I have now, which had you not bet on yourself, like, I don't know if that would have happened. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, you matured with it. You grew from every experience you had. Whereas, some girls, they may not have done that. They may have taken that, oh, I'm not starting as a sophomore at SJV. Like, maybe this isn't for me, and gone the other way. Whereas you
hmm
doubled down and said, you know what? No, I'm going to take these opportunities and go with it. Right. And look, I'm sure
yeah,
now with social media, and Dave talked about it earlier, like the wanting to be liked and the outside noise for it. Because for as many people that were probably ecstatic that you went to Michigan, I'm sure there's just as many people that were haters and trolls and all that kind of nonsense, right? Like, with your social media and all that
yeah.
stuff. Like, I'm sure that's part of it that you had to deal with as well. So, could you touch on that a little bit, just real quick, about, like, that aspect of the outside noise? Like, how did you block that out?
Yeah, I think when I was taking my visits and stuff in the transfer portal at least, there were like obviously like a lot of people who would comment like stuff be like, "Oh, like just like go Hokies," or like go like any like random school. I think Wolfpack, like I think Zoe Brooks' like uncle was commenting stuff like he wanted me to go to NC State, like
Right. Well,
like
listen,
stuff.
you're getting re-recruited, right? Like, you
Yeah.
are back in that high school world of what team am I going to go to? But with
But
social
very quick
media,
with the
like,
transfer portal.
Yeah.
100%. But with social
Accelerated.
media, like everybody has a voice now, right? Like, you're not only
hmm
listening to coaches or people
And the
that you
transfer portal,
want to
we have
listen
so
to.
much time, right? What was the window? Like 3 weeks, right? Or
It's
a month?
like like you have a
What?
certain amount of time to like enter yourself into the portal, and then I think after it closes, I think you have like 2 more weeks. So maybe like it's like around a little more than a
Great.
month.
It's
Yeah.
wild. It's quick
Which-
turnaround. I mean, these
yeah.
guys are getting ready to play for college football playoffs, and they're hosting transfer guys on campus visits like throughout the
Yeah.
day. Like
That's
it's a small
insane.
window.
Did you so how did you do that's you brought up a great point, Derek. So when you went from Bucknell and then
Mhm.
you probably had a few opportunities, right? And you decided that Michigan was, did you go to Michigan to visit Michigan, or did you make the decision just like, hey, I want to be, for some people do, like, you know, like,
No, I
I
just
mean,
Yeah, they do it blind. They won't visit. They'll just, oh my
well,
God, this is
Chambliss,
Michigan.
like
Like, let's go.
this Ole Miss quarterback who was at Ferris State,
yeah.
Right.
he ended
Yeah.
up, he was a division, like,
Trinidad.
he knew he wasn't even going to be the starter, and he went there, and it was kind of like a risk. It ended up working out phenomenal for him,
Mhm.
but like it was a huge risk because he really wasn't going to be guaranteed. Even though he won the national championship at D2, he wasn't going to be even playing right
Yeah.
away. So, and he
It's
ended up,
so funny. My
yeah.
roommate's dad is actually his financial like advisor. Like
Oh,
was
really?
at
Wow.
the yeah, she was her dad was at the game like with his mom like on TV and stuff.
Well,
Like
that's
it was
nice because
super
he
cool.
just got paid. So rock and roll.
Yeah.
One of the first things that popped up today is, oh, this guy signed a $6 million, re-signed him. I thought he was there
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Okay, but
Gotta
yeah,
retire.
listen, but those opportunities I think are amazing, right? Like, and that's
Talk about
part of
that
the
quick
process.
process. Yeah, talk about that quick process and what you did, what you had
Yeah.
to do to figure it out
Yeah.
quickly.
I think you just kind of have to like narrow down your options. Like you kind of have to know what you want. And like I said, like I was looking for academics and athletics. So like it kind of knocked a lot of schools off for me. And once I started getting like kind of power four offers, it kind of also like took away those like high, like I wouldn't even say mid-major, like Big East, like schools like that, A10, like kind of knocked off those schools that I would have gone to.
Right.
And yeah, because it was
That
kind of
way you
just
weren't
like,
wasting
okay, well,
time, right? Like, because otherwise, with the short window, like now
yeah,
your focus on this is what I think I am really quickly shifted to, oh hell no, like this is wow, okay, like these are interests, right? Like, so I think like the logistic process, like, did you actually like go visit and boots on the ground at Michigan, walked around campus, met with them, like you were being like you got recruited? It was almost like being
yeah,
recruited again out of high school. Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did visit 2 schools before that. I visited UVA and Virginia Tech. I kind of did it in like one like kind of long trip, and it was tough because I was also still doing school at that time. Like I was still like ending my semester at Bucknell, so like I was missing class, which like not good. But
Right.
yeah, so I visited UVA and Virginia Tech, and then I like obviously like when you go on those visits the coaches are like, right, like, are you coming here? Like, are you gonna commit? And I just like knew I wanted to see Michigan first. So before I like committed anywhere, like I for some reason like that was the one school I was like, all right, like I gotta see Michigan. And so I came up here and I actually had another visit scheduled after Michigan to Notre Dame. And I like there was like some issues with the Notre Dame thing, like nothing with like the coaches or anything, but just like me like how I felt about the school and the program. But yeah, I just decided to went to Michigan. I just loved it so much. I was like at this point, like as much as like Notre Dame was my dream school growing up, I was like I liked you so much, and like I don't want to waste any more time. Like yeah, so I decided to fit here and like the fact that like I thought this was a great program and like a great coach and great people. It ended up working out, and I really like it here. So yeah, aspect like obviously like, when you're in the transfer like, people are going to throw out money numbers, but I think it's more important just to like make sure you find somewhere where you actually like it, because you see so many people going places for money and like not playing or hating the school or not getting along with teammates, and like I feel like that's just not worth it because you don't get 4 years of eligibility. I mean now people are getting like 5 or 6 or all these numbers, but like it's more important just to go somewhere where you like the school and like school pride, like just take pride in where you are. So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's a great.
It's a great point.
Oh, great. Oh, we lost her. But that was a great point. Really, really great point.
And I think that's a mature, obviously, like mature, right? Like,
yeah,
and I think that factors into it when you do get into that transfer, right? Like you're not a high school kid where you're just looking for whatever offer you get. And all of a sudden now you're wowed by, oh, it's this school, it's that school, right? Like she had options and factored into a lot of different things, that mattered. And look, she referenced that she grew up watching Notre Dame. So to say no to them and be mature about that, I'm sure had to be extremely difficult. You know what I mean? But for that process to take place 2-3 years later, I think is such a different thing.
Sorry,
you're good.
Like
you're a victim of StreamYard. StreamYard gets one person every single podcast. StreamYard.
Damn.
But no, that was a great process, a really, really good process. We don't want to hold you up anymore. I know you got to eventually has a busy day ahead of you. It was really great having you on. I mean, it's really, really insightful. Like, I mean, for a young woman, man, it is really impressive how you handle everything and how you go about your process. So it's a tribute to you, and you're gonna have a ton of success continuing. So I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me. This is awesome. So much fun.
Thanks, bro. Hey, appreciate it. Good luck. Good luck tonight. Good luck tonight. In the future. If you ever need anything from us,
thank you guys.
Help you in any way, please let us know. All right. Good luck. Thanks again, Ash.
All right.
Of course.
Bye, Ash.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Good job.
Bye. That was great. That was really, really great stuff. That was really good.
Impressive.
StreamYard gets another victim. StreamYard. I was like, are we going to go a whole episode, have no problems? Oh, wait. No, of course we are.
Listen, she's always been, just knowing her and watching her develop. Like I watched her sit her sophomore year, right? And look, you look on the team and she's the tallest girl out there. She has these skills, but to sit behind others and then get to play and method to the madness, watch her grow and go to Bucknell and dominate and do really well and now be at the level that she's at. Like her level of maturity was always a little different. But we talk about that, about how those bigger time players have a little something different to them. And you can see that early on, right? And I think Ash, she just always had that with a little help in that. But you also see that process of where you're questioning yourself a little bit of am I really this good? Do I think that you know what I mean? But she just kept working and kept working and kept working. And now, I mean, look where she's at. It's amazing.
Guided to this and help. Obviously parents are a big part of it and
huge part.
But seeking out continuing to seek out a little bit more in proper doses, which is what it really sounded like. Yes. As she continued to improve, as she realized she wanted some more, and her parents thought that she could, handle more, they continued to give her more and more, and then obviously it worked out. And she had times where she was the superstar, and then she had times when she had to wait, like at Vianney, right? And then she became a superstar again at Bucknell, right? And now she's at Michigan, where you got to compete even more again, right? So it's really, really interesting. But what a great look. Everyone the transfer portal and NIL is one of those things. There's a complete yin and yang to it, right? There are things that are amazing about it. Really, I people bash it all the time, but there are things that are absolutely amazing from an opportunity standpoint. And then there are things that are negative. And anything for the most part in life, there probably is two sides of the coin on things. And you have to figure out what side of the coin is weighing itself more, right? And if you think about the transfer portal and NIL and approach it the right way, like she has, then I think you have a great chance, not just for success, but to make really good decisions that can help you on be on the right path. And I think that was the biggest thing I took away is her thought process is so good. Her thought process is really, really good, because that's hard as that really, really, I mean, I don't know if my thought process was
I wouldn't have been mature enough to make those decisions. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, it's more than just being smart intellectually. It's really the ability to kind of make good choices too, right? You could be a highly intellectual, highly good athlete. It's sometimes you see these things where guys are like, oh, he made a bad decision, but this guy was a 4.2 GPA and a fantastic athlete. Well, sometimes their decision-making process, even though they have all the things lined up as far as intellectually and athletically, could be flawed. You still have to be able to try and evaluate things the best you can, like the old school, like pro and cons column.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of it.
Me too. And you got to write it. Don't type it.
You have to write it.
Con, here we go.
I think until you write it, you rationalize. Otherwise, like me or you could rationalize away anything. I could rationalize away any decision I make without putting pros and cons down. But when I put the pros and cons down, then you can really see, okay, you know what? That sounded really good,
but it doesn't
now
look good.
that I started going through it, right? Like for example, like if someone was to say, oh, I want to be a college coach. Okay, so you could write down all the benefits, right? One day I could be rich. One day I could be at the top of my game. One day I could be the coach at a great place. One day I could influence kids' lives at the highest level, right? And then you can start to write the cons, and all of a sudden you start writing, I'm going to be away from my family. You know, that's a reality, right? I'm going to and then you come up with
they're not going to be able to come to every game, and
I can't coach them. I can't be around them all the time. Yep. I may not be able to develop my own kid the way I'm going to develop other kids, right? Mm-hmm. You have to know that that's part of it. And there's feelings involved. Listen, I love my father to death. Okay. I love my father to death, but I could tell you that there were times that I felt like I had to do a lot more on my own. I had this father who was this great speed, like track coach. And most of his time was spent with the team, right? It wasn't until I joined his team, you know, he coached me in youth and joined his team in high school that I really had more of his time, right? And even then, like, I have to say, even then, when he was coaching me, like, he still was giving probably a lot more of his time to other people than he 100%. Was to me, because I maybe didn't, you know, in his mind, I probably didn't need every extra bit of attention.
That too.
Because I was at a certain level, right? And I had a certain amount of self-determination, right? Like I was going to work hard. That's who I was.
He didn't have to worry about that aspect.
He didn't have to worry about me. So he didn't have to always pay. You could tell me what to do, and I was probably going to do it, right?
Correct.
And then if there was a moment
whereas some people need a little bit more of a push when it comes to that.
He yelled at me once, and I did it. Like, right. But there are other people that he had to probably yell at like 30 times just to get him to do it once right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So and that's part of being a coach. But but those are sacrifices coaches make, right? Like, so you have to figure out. For him, like if you would put the pro and con in it, if you were asked my father, he would say, you know what, it's going to work out. His philosophy would be like, if my son is willing to work hard and he's good enough, it will work out. That was his philosophy. You know, would that philosophy work today? I'm not sure.
Who knows? I don't know.
In the 90s, in the 80s, that worked, right? Because if you had a kid that was willing to work hard, you were willing to work hard. You were in the 90s, 2000s, you were willing to work hard. And your father was there for you to tell you, hey, you got to work hard. That could get you pretty far, I would say. That could get you pretty far. Obviously, you have to have ability. If you don't have ability, I like to say this because, you know, people like to want to be like, my kid really worked hard and no one gave him a shot. I mean, I hate to say this, but you have to have a certain amount of ability. Now, you could get better. Even if you're not good, you could get better. Maybe you can play on the team, and that might be that might be a great accomplishment for some kids. You know what I mean?
And they might be okay with that, and they might enjoy that, and that might be good enough for them. But you know what?
And that's okay.
That's totally okay. But there's also a level of like, hey, like there's more to this. I want more to this. I'm gonna go get this.
Right. And the push to your ceiling. So like,
correct.
So
she talked about that, right? Like every time she made a different decision, it was because she had reached that ceiling,
and
right?
Through your ceiling, right? Can you push through your ceiling? Can you get a little bit more? That's a great point.
She felt like she had topped out at CYO. She went to an AAU team. She felt she was topped out at that AAU team. She went to a different club. She felt she was at Bucknell and dominated, and she topped out. Next. What's next? Next. Not that she wasn't feet where they are and I'm here to do my best here and I'm what's next for me. That was a byproduct of what she did when her feet were where they were at, right? And her amount of focus for where she was and living in that moment. But now, look, I've checked this. I wanted to be Patriot League Player of the Year. I was that. What else can I get? Okay, now I'm going to shoot. It's probably a lower P4, something of that. Wait a minute. Okay. Wait, I'm getting Big Ten interest. I'm getting this interest. Let me pivot and move this direction. Now we can go and run with it. You know what I mean? So, and it's just a really cool. I said to her even before we got on, like, I think that trend of going to a lower level school, dominating, and now going up is going to be more. They're going to happen way more than we've ever seen before.
Listen, even at UConn, and I by the way, I was only half-heartedly joking. Like if like you get
1 year to go to Gino and go bang around, like
if she happens to be, you believe me. First of all, Gino, if that is actually if you actually get to that level, and you ever did go into Portal, Gino took at Princeton, Caitlin Chen, who was the Princeton. She was the best player. I think she probably was kind of like Ashley. She was the Ivy League Player of the Year, and she went into the portal as a grad transfer. And, because obviously if you're a Princeton, you're probably, not, especially that school, you're
not really leaving.
Yeah, you're not leaving until you're grad transfer, right? So she was just dominating at Princeton. She was a guard, and she transferred as a grad transfer to UConn. So you can that Princeton to UConn is a bunch of levels up. Okay. And just from the level of play, not that Princeton is they're great. Well, here's what's interesting. So the head coach of Princeton is Carla Berube, who played for Gino. So when she was a star when I was in college, right? And so it's very interesting. So when she graduated from Princeton, Gino's probably like, hey, there's a girl in the portal, or she called him and said, hey, this girl's going in. She probably called him and said, hey, this girl's going in the portal, for a grad year. She's good enough to play for you. And she started for UConn. She's in the WNBA. And she was like a low pick. I was shocked she made it, right? Like, she's really good, but it's hard to make it if you're a lower pick, right? So
correct.
And she made it. So these things happen now, and that is the beauty of a transfer portal. A girl from Bucknell could transfer to Michigan. A girl from Princeton could transfer up to UConn. In the old days, that did not happen. You said it best. Like, you played where you are. You might be 4-time All-American from that school, and that would be it, right? Like, that was it. And you know what? Maybe you didn't get an opportunity at the WNBA because maybe they shied away at your level of competition. Whereas, now you go to Michigan, you go to UConn, and you've proven it again. Like, you were at that school. Now, listen, Caitlin Chen wasn't the star of the team like she was at Princeton, but she was on a national championship team, and she was.
And we talk about that all the time, right? Like, what is your, would you rather win a championship or would you rather win individual anything? You know what I mean? Because
right. Now, she was a great player, but she wasn't better than Paige Beckers, right? So
correct.
Who was, she's among the best in UConn history. So it's an amazing thing. And I'll tell you what's brutal. Just only because obviously at football is unfortunately secondary to basketball at UConn, right? But we would have these discussions with Maria, who obviously played with Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. Like, that was her teammates. Like, she was the point guard with them, right? And when the whole Paige Beckers and who the best is, like, man, they're like, hey, Diana or Maya Moore or super, right? So it was so interesting debate. And then when Paige Beckers won, they were finally like, yes, she earned her spot, like on the potentially on the Mount Rushmore area, right? Which is so interesting because the level that they think at, I mean, listen, as great as athletes as we are and competitors as successful as we're, when I listen to the way that they think about sports, I'm like, my goodness. Like, that's why I love her mentality, Ashley.
It's awesome.
Her mentality is, how could she figure out to be a part of something that can make her the best that she can be? That is the way that I listen to the way these girls from UConn talk. Like, the only thing they think about is how could they be their very, 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 very best that they could be so they could push through their ceilings and win a championship. Like, what does it take to do that? And they were willing, like, to put up with someone being incredibly hard on them. In the old days, that was the old days. In the 90s, Gino obviously has changed a lot as far, not that his standards changed, but how he
No, I just think his approach has changed.
He's a grandpa now, right? Like, he's more of a grandpa. Whereas, when he
and
was
I'm sure
he
has to battle that in the recruiting world as well, right? Like, because that's something that guys probably negatively recruit against him. Of like, is he going to be there, or do you really like? Yeah, like, the same thing that, Joe Pa dealt with towards the end of his career, or Bobby Bowden, or Saban, right? Those guys that start to get up there. Look, I think Curt Cignetti is going to start to deal with that a little bit at Indiana, where guys are going to say, hey, like, he's got some time yet, but, it's always, guys will find reasons. Amazing. Like, I mean, buddy, him and Dan Lanning going back and forth. It is kind of fun. Yeah. It's really funny. I mean, I think college football, it got it right. They got lucky and they got it right, because Miami being there, like, had they not put them in, I think we're looking at a whole different conversation and narrative around the playoffs. But it all circles back to coaching.
Golden, and obviously Lane Kiffin, Golden, Cristobal, Cignetti, and Lanning all were on Alabama's staff at different times.
Isn't it unbelievable?
Like, so when you think of part of becoming a great athlete or coach is trying to seek out people who will push you to be your best. So coaching goes the same way. Like, I could tell you, and this is the truth, I was a good coach at Saddlebrook when our team was great. Like, we were really great. Really, really a great team. Like, we had a great run. Those guys were really good coaches. And I can tell you, they were really good coaches. And I learned a lot from them. And by the way, having the Navy triple option as my first offense ever coaching in has helped me immensely, just like the run and shoot helped you immensely for your future as a coach, because what these specific offenses that learn how to take away. And then when I go to DJ and it's run and shoot, right? And by then he was a little bit bastardized run and shoot, but like still run and shoot principles. But going to DJ, going from Saddlebrook as an assistant to going to DJ as an assistant, okay, is my first two. Like, Saddlebrook was good. DJ was even better, right? And I was just like, it was like, for a high school coach, I was like, holy cow, like, just like you were with Toll, right? Like those things make a huge difference on you.
Huge difference.
Not that you don't make mistakes when you move up as a coach, you do, but
that's part of learning.
And then when I was a head coach, then I went back to DJ, right? Like, my whole thing always as an assistant always was, it wasn't even about, it happened to be that these guys won a lot of games, but it wasn't always that they were going to win championships or not. My whole thing, once I became a head coach, if I ever was an assistant again, which I did when I went back to DJ, then I went back with Old Japan.
Yep.
My whole thing was, if I'm going to go be an assistant, I want to go and be around guys who I think at minimum are as smart as me, hopefully smarter, but like have things that I can come away with that can help me in the future, right? So even like that I could learn things from them, right?
Correct.
And that was always important to me. Like, I always thought, like, hey, Joe Klaus is not a head coach, and I've always learned a ton from Joe. And he's never been a head coach. He's been to DC. Like, he was DC when we were at Riverdale together. He was he's the DC at Old Japan forever. Like,
yep.
The guy wanted to be a head. I think he just makes too much money as a teacher at Old Japan. It was probably the highest paid one of the highest paid probably in the state, I'm guessing. But so it's probably hard to turn that down as a teacher if that's your career, right? To leave 100%. There. But like, the guy could be, if he was the head coach, if he went somewhere immediately, even if he went to the bottom of the barrel program, which he wouldn't, he would get a good job. But like, let's say he went to the bottom, he would turn it around in a few years and he would be great. So, but Dunn and those guys, just like you with Toll and being coming from the Butler background, playing for Montclair State, playing for Giancola, right? There are things you learn. Like, even though Holtz was really young, okay, there were
Dave,
things
he's still in it at a high level. You know what I mean? So like,
there are things he did right from the get-go that were very different. I love Tom Jackson because Tom Jackson, I would say, like, you could put Tom Jackson at any level as a recruiter, he would be elite.
correct.
Tom Jackson was old school, like, they all ran you into the ground. Holtz was not as much like that. Holtz was starting to move into the modern era of things. Those guys were really much more about development, from a player standpoint. And I thought they did a really good job. Not that they made a ton of mistakes, dude. They did a bunch of, like, my first year there, I just thought was a colossal, even though they had the system great, colossal mistakes as far as personnel, because what they thought worked at Notre Dame was not necessarily going to work at UConn. Like, you know what I mean? You might have different skill sets and different player types, right? So, but they learned and they adapted. And by the time but those coaches and as an athlete, like she said almost immediately that the coaches, that they obviously cared about her, but they pushed her to her limit. They pushed her to be better. And I think, like, one of the things that young people have to understand, you could go and do all the Instagram stuff you want, okay? It does not mean that you're pushing yourself to the max. You have to seek out coaches that can help you, that will develop you. Yes, you want them to obviously like you, but more than liking you, you want them to push you and respect you, that you want to be pushed. And if they like you personally, you're on the bonus plan. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody, listen, for a long time as a player, just because I'm from a different era, I didn't even know if my coaches actually liked me. I actually thought my high school coach hated me because he would come down to me all the time. And and you know what? Like, some people, like, that wouldn't work as much today, my first high school coach, because unless you had a supreme level of confidence, you might have got completely torn down because he never said anything nice to you. I didn't learn until after that he thought he loved me. Like, I was like, what?
Well, that's why, Dave, I think, like, I express that so much more to my players nowadays, especially with,
right.
I don't want to say how temperamental they are, but just how much more feelings play into this now. And it can't be cookie cutter coaching. Every guy has to be talked to individually or whatever. And in order for me to coach the way that I want to coach, right, and the way that I do coach, not that it hasn't changed, because it drastically has, but to still be who I am at heart and do those things, like, I have to be vested in their feelings and how I communicate with them on and off the field, right? Like, and I referenced it, like, I'll ride a guy and I'll be all over him and I'll coach him really, really, really hard. But we're always going to have that conversation of, like, look, I know you don't like me right now. I know I'm pushing some buttons that make you feel really uncomfortable. But for the most part, like, it's not out of there's no negative context in that, how I'm coming at it. It's because I care a lot more than you think, or I'm seeing things that you can't see right now. And in order for you to get all these things that you want and be great and be the best player you possibly can be, or the best man on and off the field, right? Like, I have to make you uncomfortable. And understand that in the future, you're going to look back and be like, wow, thank you. I appreciate it. Even though right now in the moment, it might not feel good, but I promise you it's for the good, it's for your betterment.
There's no doubt about it. And one of the things that, like, I've gone to with the younger kids I work with, like my son's group, and I'm already, I analyze everybody as, are you willing to push my kid to be the best? Whether I'm coaching, obviously, if I'm coaching the group, that's how I kind of approach it, obviously. And, but not only are you willing to push them, but also let them run once you're pushing them, right? Like, if you put the ball in somebody's hand, don't put constraints on them. Okay, meaning they have to learn what to do. I'm not saying like they could just do whatever the hell they want. They can't. But you want to let them go. Once you've taught them what to do, you got to let them run. You know what I mean? Like if they haven't learned it yet, they may have constraints until they learn it. But once you've taught them, let them run and be athletes. It's a big mistake, I think, that coaches make. Is that, and every coach, even listen, it gets in my head too. I'm not immune to it. Okay. Every coach has a control level to them that they want to have, that they have a vision of what they think something should look like. And when it doesn't look exactly like what goes on in their head, the first instinct they have is to change something or correct it. And sometimes you just have to let an athlete be an athlete, right?
Yep.
Like I always say that in basketball, it's the guy shoots a ball from the 3 and you go, no, yes, right, when he makes it, right? So that's a good example of it, right? Like he may not, like you didn't really envision him shooting the 3 at that moment, but he saw something and he took the opportunity and he made it.
And if you come down on him in a negative context for that, he's never going to do that again. You want those guys to be comfortable where, look, I'm willing. If I make a mistake, I'm not going to get hammered for it. I'm not going to crush it, right? Like you don't want to put that vice on those guys where they can't be who they are, because now you brought them onto the team, or you have them on the team to do certain things and they have these abilities. Don't now take away from that because of whatever. You know what I mean? Like allow guys to do what it is, and then you tweak it, you shape it so that it fits into the bigger picture.
In football, I always use this analogy. Anyone can fumble, okay? Even if you have the ball really tight and someone just, they whack you on the ball, it happens. It happens to all of us. It's happened to everyone. Right, me too. Okay, and you don't even know how it happened. You had the ball tight, and all of a sudden, like a guy just happens to hit you. You think you're in the end zone or something, and the ball comes out. You're like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, know, like that happened. That can happen to anyone. I'm never mad at anybody that does that happens to. What I have a problem with, and this is what I always try to teach kids this, and when you coach youth, you kind of learn that like this even more, right? In high school, you might take for granted, hey, we're teaching you how to hold the ball, okay? But what I have an issue is if you're getting beat up, meaning like someone hits you hard and you're starting to go down and you loosen up on the ball because it becomes a toughness thing, meaning you're getting beat up. Right. That ball has to be held onto. If you fumble because you kind of half let the ball go, okay, or you're completely holding the ball improperly as you're getting tackled, that if we taught it to you, that you can't let happen. So there's a difference between those two, right?
Absolutely.
There's a difference between letting the ball go because you're getting beat up, which is going to happen at sometimes.
Welcome to football.
Right. Or someone just makes a great play.
I think that, Dave, in itself right there, that comment, look, sometime like those guys get coached too.
Correct.
And those coaches put just as much, well, you hope, right, effort into coaching their guys. Some of them do, right? Like in my head, we're all
you get an athlete,
or you get a kid that's just absolutely exceptional and really fucking good. And you know what? Kudos to that dude.
Kudos to that kid. Yeah.
He's like, and you know what? After the game, I'm going to seek him out and say, hey, number 2, that's a hell of a play. And you're a hell of a player, because I know for me, and I've referenced this a ton of times, the ultimate like checking a box of how I felt as a player came when I got a compliment from an opposing coach.
Yep.
There was nothing better than when that guy stopped the line, shaking hands at the end of the game, and said, hey, buddy, we prepared all week for you, and you still got us. Like, you're a hell of a player. And even though, like, maybe you didn't score 10 touchdowns or you didn't have whatever, like, everything we did was based around you, and that's why you're a great player. Like, to me, that was the ultimate compliment, the ultimate, like, whew, maybe I can take a breath right now. That was the only
way I knew I was a good player at Saddlebrook, by the way.
No shit, me too. Because I knew as soon as I got out of the line, if it wasn't my coach or my old man, it was, like they were.
Why you're getting hammered?
Like, what do you do? Like, why did you this? What? It's like, dude, I just like holy
I
shit.
was like,
Like,
oh,
but
okay. I am pretty
also,
good.
but it also taught me, you know what I mean? Like, it also taught me that, like, even
More
though
respect, right?
respect and like, hey, even though you did really good, there's always more. We can always get a little bit better, right? Kind of like
Yep.
the Nick Saban, like, hey, we just won the national championship, but guess what? We have a 7 a.m. staff meeting the next day because we got to get going. Now, look, there is some level of like, all right, let's take a breath now. But I don't know, dude. It's really hard now because, look, even when we win games, right? The whole thing is, all right, well, let's get this film broken down.
We're on
Let's
to
see
the
what we
next
can
one.
do. Let's see if we can get better. And we're on to the next one, right? That moment of like,
The
hey,
nuts
take
is-
the time, enjoy it. It's like, really? Is winning even exciting anymore? Or is it more of a relief? Like,
You know what it is? I almost think that winning is and now regular games, I would say regular games, there's a joy and a relief, I would say. And
yes,
then if you win if you win a championship, I would say there's a joy, there's a high, and then there's relief. You know what I mean? So um,
absolutely.
because there is a little high when you do win a championship. But I tell people like you have a high, right? Let's say you win a championship, and that could be in anything you win a championship. That's why I say people you win a championship. If you happen to be good enough to win a championship and something, enjoy it. Like I told my son, you guys you've won more games at 10 since you're from the time you started sports to at 10 than I ever won in my whole entire history as in team sports. Now, as an individual, because track I happen to be in wrestling, I happen to be really good. Individually, I said,
Listen,
well, you got a long way to go.
my old man and I
Long
used to
way to
go
go.
back and forth all the time. You know what I mean? Like, Dad, like I know you still have records at Willie P and whatever. I said, but I won more games in one season at Montclair State than you won in 4 years, right? Like, and it's the
There's
truth. It is what it
individual
is.
there's
Individually,
both.
team, 100%. And I think it's like that's the aspect of I don't know. Look, I know guys are getting paid, and I know it's money. Money is like you got to take it when it's there, and all that other stuff. But I don't know, man. There's just something about having a championship or a ring or winning that just for me, and look, whether it's because I'm a group one guy and team was preached and all that
Right.
kind of stuff, like even at Montclair State, it was the team, it was you're a Red Hawk, right? Like the pride within a program and all that stuff, like the winning just always overshadowed, even for as much
think
as I
like
wanted to be the guy or the man, right? Or
right. Winning
individual
overshadowed
accolades.
it.
It's just I still
Well,
wanted to win more than anything in the world.
I think winning as a team is a kind of a relationship high, meaning like other people that you earned it with,
Oh, yes.
you're experiencing that high and success,
Right.
and you
And to
collect.
see it with guys that maybe didn't win in high school at all, and now like they won like 2 games their senior year, and now all of a sudden you're playing in college, and
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like to
it's
see
the
that,
collective.
right? To coming from a winning program, right? Where look, playoffs or bust, or winning was just what was expected. To go to Sacred Heart, where guys were okay losing, and that aspect like was a big eye opener. I told you, I've said that, like you know what I mean, like. But to see those guys like win as a group and us win something like at Montclair State, it was so different because those guys didn't experience winning, right? And for them, it was like,
Absolutely.
wow. Like I was always the best player and first team all division and all
But I
this, all
never
that,
won, right.
but I never won shit. And now like here we are, we just won an ECAC bowl, or we're have the opportunity to play for a conference title. Like that stuff it was almost like dude, we're supposed to be here, right? But for
Right.
them, it was something totally different and bananas. I was like, yeah, it's
An
awesome.
individual, it is an individual. When you win as an individual, and I can only speak for myself, but like it's a different kind of high. So when you win as an individual,
Right, like track you're referencing, right?
you win a
An
track
individual,
race, you win
right?
like
A
wrestling.
wrestling
I
match.
won a lot of. I placed very high in the state every year, or I won a lot of region championships when I was young and youth, right? By the way, I think I've told you this before. I've never had coaches more mad at me ever
for not playing.
for not wrestling. Like
I agree.
when I tell you, like I would walk through the hallways of the school, and people were thank goodness I was a confident individual and didn't really give a fuck.
Yep.
But because but I felt it though. I felt it,
Oh,
like
hell yeah.
friends,
Always.
real friends hated me for not wrestling. And they would just be like, oh, they would be like, oh, you're such a pussy. I'm like, I'm not a pussy, dude. I would pin any of you immediately. Like
now.
there's but but my dream was football. You know what I'm saying? It was really like, to this day, my best sport was wrestling. Like I was great. Wrestling by far was my best sport. But what's interesting about an individual win is that when you win, you feel yourself. It gives you a certain amount of confidence in yourself. Like, I have to say, like, the one thing about individual winning is you develop confidence, which is very hard to gain. Even in team, you collect, when you win team, you get collective confidence, like your group confidence.
Right.
When you win individually, you do develop a certain level of individual confidence that is it's an odd feeling, like when you win, right? Like as when you individually, because you get this feeling like, oh, it's an immediate validation that
Right.
your hard work works. Whereas team, it's not an immediate validation. It takes time. It's not till you get to the championship, that you have a level of validation as a team. You know what I'm saying? So
and everybody handled, and to see how everybody handles winning and achievements differently, like I think that's really cool too.
That is cool. And when you lose, by the way, individually,
that's another part.
There is a high downside.
Hell yeah. Because look, like maybe,
I'm not good.
Yeah,
no, you're not
right,
good.
Right. Like look, like I look at like the kicker last night, the rookie kicker for the Ravens that missed the kick to take him to whatever. Like, how does he handle that, right? And
that's very individual within the team. Like, kicker
I just cost these guys every bit of it, and not like, and I'm a rookie, and I'm this, and I'm only the kicker, and I'm this.
You brought him for one thing,
one job, and I didn't do it, and now. But look, like you see,
and
John
it's
Harbaugh,
the highest pressure job,
hands
maybe in all of sports.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of a more pressure. I don't know. Maybe being in team gymnastics might be high pressure because of the Olympics, because like, I don't know, it's dangerous and it's dangerous and everyone's relying on you, watching you, and you're out there by yourself. But in team sports, I would say those might be the two most. You need nerves of steel to be a kicker at the pro level, and I would say to be a gymnast on the Olympic team. I can't imagine, especially the women's United States Olympic team, right? Because the pressure there is, I can't even imagine as a pro kicker. I to tell you the truth, I don't know that I could be a kicker. Like, that's not my wheelhouse as far as skill set, right? Like, I love pressure, but like that is I don't even know what that would feel like, to be honest. I don't know what that would feel like as an athlete. And I don't know what that would feel like as a gymnast, to be out there by yourself on a team sport, right? You're individual within a team sport. You are a highly individual position within a team sport that, if anything at all you do wrong, that tiniest little mistake results in a loss for your team. That is you got to really want the smoke. I mean, like when people say kickers aren't tough, yeah, well, they're not physically tough. Like, they may not be mentally, like mentally, to be a kicker is like, it's crazy mental. I'm trying to think. Can you think of anything other than kicker and maybe gymnast in the Olympics that would be? I mean, I watch those women. A lot of them are girls.
I don't know. Maybe if you're on like the 4x1 team for an Olympic gold medal, like as that, like I don't. It's not even that.
No.
Right? Like, what if you drop a baton, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't think it's the intangibles of.
They should be. Well, the Americans should be the best. So when they screw up, it's really ridiculous, right? Because they should be the best. You are moving at an incredibly fast rate, so. I don't know what that would be like at the highest level. I think that's a pretty gymnast to me strikes it.
Even like, or here's the other part too of like, well, like, or here's the other part, like, you know, NBA finals, like 2 seconds to go, you're taking the shot, maybe you're at, or the play is called for you and you got to hit the three. That's even, I don't know. I think
people don't expect you to make it though, right?
That's what I was just going to say. Like the side of the other side of that is, as a kicker, like, you know, it's on you, right?
And
like
they expect you to make it. Like, I don't care how far it is.
Doesn't matter.
Unless
I don't care if this isn't your range. I don't care if the field's frozen. I don't care if the wind is ripping this way. Like, and they also don't understand, like, there's still a guy that has to snap it and hold it, but they're not going to get blamed for it on a missed kick unless it's something obvious. You know what I'm saying? So look, even I think personally, you could compare the kicker aspect to go, look, just as much pressure for the holder, just as much pressure for the long snapper individually, right? Like,
Buffalo, like, one of the greatest kickers back then, Norwood, right? Norwood was one of the best. He was one of the top 3 kickers in all of the NFL at the time. And he missed that kick, and forever, a guy who probably would, I don't know if he is at all, but had a Hall of Fame career for the most part, right?
Right.
And
look, the death threats,
all that shit in the Hall of Fame, right? What's that?
No, because I said, like, death threats, you know what I mean?
Right. And who's the most memorable gymnast of all time because she did it on the hurt ankle?
What's her name?
I forgot her name. I can't believe
starts with an R, doesn't it?
Strug? Kerri Strug.
Kerri Strug.
When who was kind of an unsung, like,
right, she wasn't the one, right? Like, that was Dominique Marciano or Dominic Dawes or one of those other quote unquote big name gymnasts that were, no, dude, she drilled that thing to win the whole, you know what I mean?
One leg.
One leg. Look,
forever a hero.
It was in Atlanta, right? So it was in the United States. Like, just this whole, so much to it. And dude, that's
People are crying that when she hit that because it was so.
And she drilled it, bro.
Dude, I mean,
it's one of the most infamous. I don't think it's talked about as being one of the most, like, high, like, you know, like Jordan's last shot against Utah. Like, that should be right there with that. You know what I'm saying?
But he was that good. Like, what was amazing to me about Kerri Strug, and I bet you she can't even put it into words. I bet you.
Hell no. There's no way.
For her to get up there, hurt ankle, but you know what it is? She was trained for it, and her nerves, like, she developed nerves of steel from failure, from a lot. Because I remember seeing something where she had failed so many times, and she, like, that's what people don't realize. Like, to get to that point, you've got to be willing to
be in that situation.
You got to be willing to. A kicker has to be willing to miss a lot of kicks to get good at kicking.
Like, I look at, like, my cousin, right? Who, right? He's a gymnast out of Ireland, right? Pommel horse.
Oh,
right?
that's right.
So he won a gold medal, right, in these last Olympics, right?
Ireland,
and
right?
Look, Ireland. Yeah. Yep. And believe me, he's harder to get in touch with than anybody I've ever in my life. But that's a whole beside the thing. I mean, like, he's got so much going on in Ireland, but it is what it is. You know, Rhys McClanahan, which is like the most Irish name you could possibly think of, right? I get it. But what a lot of people don't know, only Ireland knows, is that the previous Olympics, he went in as a high, like, hey, this guy's going to medal in this and whatnot, and totally shit the bed and took 7th, right?
Interesting.
And now here's 4 years of all of that built up for your moment on the pommel horse of however long that friggin', you know, whatever it is. Here you go. You got to get it. And he drills it. And now he will forever be, you know, he's the only guy to ever medal from Ireland. And it's this and it's that, you know what I mean? And it's that in itself, to having already been on that stage and failed so miserably and then come back 4 years later. So the mental fortitude of work for this moment. And I get 2 minutes maybe of, like, we're talking pommel horse, which is holy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to go and get it and do it, now live in infamy. Like, Okay, dude. You know what I mean? Like a totally different world of God. You know, I can't even imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like what that's like, or just
It's amazing. Listen, gymnast wrestling is all yourself, and there's a lot of toughness involved in it. But
yes.
stress. I mean, I'm trying to think. Stress and overcoming your fears, and everybody watching you. Maybe ice skating might be equal to it.
Maybe.
I'm not an ice skating guy, but I just try to think of like the toughest things when you're out there to execute in high pressure situations on a very difficult, like the most complicated thing, meaning like balance beam, doing like, the landing a dismount off of a high level, or same thing with ice skating, which is similar, right? Like landing it and on the ice. I don't know how the hell they do that, by the way.
Look, ice skating in itself is a bitch.
Yeah, I'm a horrible.
Oh, I'm good. I could skate, dude. I
You
love
think
it.
you
Oh
can?
yeah. I
Horrible.
mean, look, I don't know what it's like now, but you know what I mean? Like I used to be able to skate. I loved it. And we played roller hockey and pond hockey and we did all that
Yes,
shit at Butler.
that
Like
sounds
there's
like
nothing
that
else
would
to
be
do
a
on a
Butler
snow
thing.
day. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing else to do on a snow day other than get in trouble. So let's just go put on skates and hit each other with sticks for a couple hours, you know, like that was fun. But it's just look, I don't know either, because for one, like I was never an individual sport guy. Like I never
Right.
wrestled. I never did any, I never ran track. Like I don't know. Maybe a baseball pitcher, like a closer.
A closer, I would say. Yes,
Like,
that's
hey,
I would
like
agree with
so
you.
why you look at like Mariano as to like why he
I
was
think
so good.
that's
Like, come on in and shut
incredibly
it down.
stressful.
And look, even when he came in and he missed the save, people are talking shit. Like, it's like, dude, he's like, 201, and the one is what you're going to focus on for what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that might be really hard in that aspect to kind of, come in, close a game. You're expected to like seal the deal, 3 outs, whatever you got to do. I don't know, maybe baseball, because that's the closest team sport to being individual. Like, I don't really know.
I think relief pitcher has to be incredibly, like, take incredible nerves, because you're coming into
But
a
I
game.
also think but Dave, think about it,
You're winning usually.
162 games. You know what I'm saying? So like how much pressure is it on it in a game in May?
I would say when you go to the World Series, yes.
Okay.
If you're
like
looking at
postseason play.
any postseason play, it's a
Right.
tremendous amount of pressure. I would say equal to a kicker.
Maybe penalty kicks in soccer as the goalie.
In the World Cup, yes.
As
And the
the goalie?
goalie might be, I think goalie's more stressful.
So hockey too, right? Like Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals. Here we are in a shootout.
The only thing I would say this is a great debate, by the way. The only thing I would say with
this might need to be like a poll.
Goalie in hockey and soccer is that, well, let me put it like this. Soccer and hockey are different. Hockey, I would say goalie, yes. Soccer, I would say they probably expect you not to save it so you can take chances.
Correct.
So
okay.
The pressure's probably on the guy kicking it more. You know what I mean? Like not to fuck it up, because everyone expects you to make it in soccer, to make the penalty kick, because the goalie doesn't know where you're going and the goal's so big. Whereas in hockey, the goal's small, so they probably expect you to stop it, right? And if you don't stop it, yeah, that's got to be a lot of pressure, because if you don't stop it, everyone's going to hate you.
100%.
In goalie, if you do stop it, you're a hero. If you don't stop it, they expect you not to stop.
You're right.
It's so interesting. I think that those
great debate.
It is, because I would love to. I'm curious if anyone ever watches any of, if you ever stuck around for a 2-hour part of our episodes, and to maybe we get this as a clip, and maybe we could say people comment on this and say like what you think, because I'm curious. I'm sure there are other things that are like incredibly. Oh, I got it. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they're automatic with it, but so maybe it's not as difficult. But I would say that if you're a rifle shooter, like not rifle, the guys who shoot in the Olympics, that has to be incredible. That must take nerves of steel. I don't know how you like you have to be everything has to be a bullseye. So
100%.
like you can't not shoot a bullseye. There's no doubt.
What about like maybe like downhill skiing?
Downhill skiing? I would
Like
say
you only have one run, like Lindsey Vonn.
yes, and it's dangerous. So it's not
beyond it. So how
it's
much do you push the envelope to like get what you want to get without killing yourself?
I would say it's stressful. Yeah, I would say right, like almost like gymnastics. You got to push the envelope. Incredibly dangerous. Like literally, you fuck up, you could die. Like like you're going so fast, right? Like
God,
I don't like it. I'll give you another one. I don't know if it's stressful, but it's definitely dangerous. The jump stuff they do when they come downhill and they jump.
Oh yeah, like the distance.
What is it called? Yeah, that looks
what skiing?
The skiing, like the
Yeah,
jump.
ski jump. Oh yeah, dude.
That's crazy. I would never.
Have you ever skied?
Really. Now we're getting to some good ones. But
have you ever skied or snowboarded?
Yes, yeah, right. Those are. I mean,
dude, that shit. I love that shit. Snowboarding was so fun. Skiing was so fun. I just love you're ripping down. It's like whoa. Like I don't know. It's just a high that you get. It's just crazy. But that shit's dangerous. Definitely.
It's a great debate. Obviously, the sports we know, there's certain levels of stress. I'm sure QB in the heat of a moment at the end of a game.
2-minute drive.
That's got to be incredibly stressful.
Absolutely.
For a QB, because he cannot make a mistake, and it costs him a game. Although I do think of it the same way as a jump shot at the end. Like probably you're a hero if you make it happen. Most people assume you're not going to make it happen. Right. Like I'm saying the fans. Well, maybe not. Fans now probably think everything should happen. You should make every shot.
Yep.
All right. I'll let you go.
We're back tomorrow. 11 a.m. Tomorrow we're back at 11 a.m. with Chad Wilson, who was he coached with Mike Smith down in South Florida at American Heritage. He had two sons play in the NFL, and he does a lot of DB work with that clientele and stuff down there. So be cool to talk to him about that process of. I mean, he sent two kids Power 4, so and now he does a lot of DB skill stuff. So Chad Wilson, so really good dude. Very,
very cool. Good stuff, man. All right, I will talk to you later. And
you got it.
About something, but I forgot what it was. When I remember, I will call you.
When you remember, let me know.
All right,
bud.
Great podcast.